For this project, any category 4 yarn will work, but I used 4 skeins of Caron's Simply Soft in Grey Heather. As for tools, a 6mm hook, scissors, stitch markers, and a tape measure. There's a written pattern down below. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount. Watch to the end of the video to learn how to enter this week's giveaway. We're using 4 stitches for this project, and they will be as follows: chain, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. This tutorial is for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we explain how to in the video, so let's get started. Getting started on these bottoms, we're first going to grab our category 4 yarn, make a slip knot. Grab our 6mm hook and start off by making a chain that comes out to the height that we want our waistband to be. So I'm going to start off by making a chain that is 2.5 inches or 7 centimeters, or that's a total of 10 chains. Once when we have our chain, we are going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1. From there into the chain that we blocked off with our thumb or our second chain from our hook, we're going to be inserting our hook with a slip stitch. So we're going to insert, yarn over, pull through everything. Let's do the next one together. Into that next chain, insert, yarn over, pull through everything. And we're going to keep doing this all the way down our chain. Now that we have our first row of slip stitches, what we're going to do from here is do a chain up of 1 and flip our work. And for the rest of this band, this is all going to be with back loop slip stitches. So let's do the first few together. Into this first available back loop that we have, we're going to insert, yarn over, and pull through everything. Next one, insert into that back loop, yarn over, pull through everything. And we're just going to keep doing back loop slip stitches going all the way down. Once we make it to the end, do a chain up of 1, flip your work, and then do more back loop slip stitches going all the way down. And we're just going to keep going back and forth like this until we end up getting the length that we need for our waistband. And the length that we need is going to be one that can reach around the widest part of our hips. And my quick tip for you guys is when we're going in with all these back loop slip stitches, make sure that when you guys are putting it up to yourself, that you guys are stretching it out as far out as it can stretch, because this has a decent amount of give to it. So I'll meet you guys back once when I have my chunk all finished up to let you guys know my measurements and how many rows I ended up having. So I am back and I now have my waistband that I need. And just to let you guys know, I have a total of 19.5 inches or 50 centimeters, and that is unstretched because in the last clip, remember I said this has a lot of give to it. It does. But it is that length, and then also I went in with a total of 118 rows. And once when we have this entire length that we have, now we're just going to fold it in half and then seam up the sides. So we can get started on that. All we're going to do is just sandwich the 2 pieces together and then go along the 2 edges with a row of single crochet. So now that our work is sandwiched, what we're going to do, since our hook is currently in through this side, we're just going to insert our hook in through the back panel's corner loop, just like that. We're just going to yarn over and pull through everything to secure these 2 corners together. Once we have that, we are going to insert our hook in through this first available loop in through the front panel, and then also in through the next available loop we have in through the back panel. And then once when our hook is successfully in through both, we are going to single crochet. Let's do this just one more time together. In through the next available loop we have in through the front panel, and then next loop we have in through the back panel. Once we have that, single crochet. And then keep doing that all the way down. I'll meet you guys back once we get to the end of this row. So we are back, and now that we have our seam all done up, what we're going to do next is just go around with a row of single crochet just to clean up this bottom edge so that we can get started on the bottom portion. So what we're first going to do is flip this inside out so that our seam is along the inside. And then from here, we're just going to go along the bottom with a row of single crochet, making sure we're putting 1 into every side slip stitch row that we have. So what we're going to do is do a chain up of 1. And then in through this first side slip stitch row that we have right here, we're just going to be finding whatever top loop that we can find and then inserting our hook in through there with a single crochet. So I'm going to be inserting my hook into this top loop with a single crochet. And then into the next side slip stitch row, it's going to be the little divot that we have in between these 2. Insert into there with another single crochet. And then this top one is the next. and then this little divot is the one after that. And then I'll meet you guys back once we have slip stitched into that chain up of one that we did, once when we go all the way around. So we've just made our way all the way around with our single crochet row, and what we're going to do next is go in with our connecting seam that goes in between our two pant legs. But right before we do that, we're going to have to go in with some stitch markers. So we're going to have to count two things. From where our hook currently is, we're going to have to count out the total amount of loops that we have, and then figure out where our halfway point is from our hook. And if you guys have the same numbers as me, I went in with a total of 116 single crochets, and then I inserted my halfway stitch marker into the 58th loop. And then from there, in between these two sides, this is going to be one pant leg, this is going to be the other. We're going to have to find the middle for each of these pant legs as well. So from where our hook is, I counted out a total of 29 loops and then inserted my stitch markers into those as well. And once we have that, now we're going to do just a little bit of measuring so that we can go in with our chain that goes in between our legs. Now that we have our stitch markers in place, now we can put on our waistband and we can figure out the length that we need for this chain that goes in between our legs. So what we're going to do is just put our waistband where we want to wear our pants. So if they're going to be high-waisted, wear them up high. If they're going to be low, settle it down low. And then from there, we're going to measure from this waistband going underneath over to the back half that we have right here. And just to let you guys know, mine's going to be high-waisted. So I'm going to go in with a total of 20 inches or 51 centimeters, or that comes out to a chain of 60. So I'm going to make my chain and then slip stitch it into this middle stitch marker that I have right here. Now that we have gone in with our chain and we have slip stitched it into the other side, which is exactly in the middle of our waistband that we have, now we're going to have to put in some more stitch markers, but this is going to be completely up to you guys. All we're doing is just sectioning off where we're going to be doing our double crochets, our half doubles, and then our singles, and then the same thing along the other side of our chain going up the back half. So I'm going to let you guys know my numbers, but you guys can adjust from there if you guys want. But all we're going to do is first figure out where our middle point is into our chain. I inserted my first stitch marker into the 30th loop, and then counting up just one direction because they're both on the same side, just counting up one direction, I inserted my first stitch marker into the 6th, and then from there counted up a total of 16 and then inserted my next stitch marker. And then I just counted up the same amount of loops along the other side. But once when we have that, now we can get started with our first row. Going in with the first row that we're going to do, we just want to make sure that we're going in through the same direction. So we're going to make sure that our work is laying down flat with the seam along the back and faced up towards us, so that once when we wear it, it is going to be along the inside, just like that. And then we're going to be working into the left side of our pant leg that we have right now. But once when we have that, we can get started. Working into the left side of our waistband, we're going to be slip stitching into the next two loops that we have into the base. So we're going to insert, pull through, insert, and pull through. From here, we're going to flip our work, and now we're going to be working into that chain that we just made for ourselves. And into this first chain that we have, we're going to be going in with an increase of 2 double crochets. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet, go into that first chain with 2 double crochets. So if we can get it in there, there is 1 double crochet. We're going to be putting 1 more into that same loop, and then 2. That is our increase of 2 double crochets. And then from here, all we're going to do is just put 1 double crochet into every chain that we have until we hit our first stitch marker, and then we're going to be switching out for our half doubles. So I'll meet you guys back once we get right here. Now that we've done our double crochets over to our first stitch marker, from this stitch marker over to the next, we're going to be going in with half double crochets. So all we're going to do is take this stitch marker out for now. We're actually going to put it back in once when we go in with our first half double. So from here, we're going to prepare for a half double, go into that next loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. From there, we're going to take our stitch marker and then insert it back into that loop. And then just go all the way down till we hit our next stitch marker with half double crochets. Now that we have hit our next stitch marker, now we're going to do single crochets from this stitch marker over to the next. This middle one was just to indicate where our middle point was into our chain, so we actually don't need that. So I'm just going to take that guy out. But from this stitch marker over to this one, we're going to go in with single crochets. So we're first going to take this guy out, but we're going to put it back once we go in with our first single. But into that next loop, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through. Ooh, let's try that again. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. That is our first single, and we will be inserting our stitch marker back into there. And then we're just going to go with singles until we hit our next stitch marker. Now we've made our way over to our next stitch marker. We just finished up going in with our singles. We are past the halfway point now. And now we're going to go in from this stitch marker over to the next with our half doubles. So we're going to take this guy out for now. Prepare for a half double. Go into that next chain with a half double. Insert our stitch marker back into that loop. And then put 1 half double into every chain until we hit our next stitch marker. Now that we have finished up going in with our half doubles, now we're going to go in with our double crochets. So we're going to take this guy out, prepare for a double, put a double into that next chain, and then insert our stitch marker back in. Now when we have this part, we're going to be putting 1 double crochet into every loop that we have until we hit our last chain. Once we do that, we are going to be doing an increase of 2 into that last one, just like how we started off this row. And then we're going to slip stitch it into the base together because we want to make sure we're inserting it into the right side. So we are nearly finished with this first row. We just left our last chain so that we can go in with our increase of 2 double crochets into there together. So what we're going to do is prepare for a double, go into that last chain with 1 double, and then we're going to go into that last chain again with another double. That is our increase of 2 to close off this row. From there, we're going to slip stitch into the second available loop that we have into the base. We're going to count up 1, count up 2, slip stitch into that second loop to close off this row. Once we have that, we're going to do the entire second row together. So we're going to slip stitch up the next 2 available loops to work our way up to the next row. From here, we are going to flip our work. And then into this first back loop that we have, we're going to be going in with an increase of 2 back loop double crochets. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet, go into that first available back loop with 1, and then 2 double crochets, making sure they're both going in through that back loop. From here, we're just going to be going in with 1 back loop double crochets all the way up until we are at our stitch marker, and then into the loop after that, we're going to be going in with our back loop half doubles. So let's do that together. So we have just reached where our first stitch marker is, and we have gone into that loop that our stitch marker is in. We're now going to take this out, set it off to the side, and into this next available loop, we're going to go in with our back loop half doubles. And then into this first back loop half double loop, we're going to be inserting our stitch marker back into there. And from here, going all the way down, we're going to go in with our back loop half doubles. We have just gone in with our back loop half doubles. We can now take out this stitch marker and then go in with our back loop singles from where that stitch marker was. So this next available loop all the way over to our next stitch marker. So going into this first back loop, we're going to go in with a single crochet. We're going to insert our stitch marker into that first single crochet loop. And then we're going to go in with back loop single crochets all the way over to this next stitch marker. We just finished up going in with our back loop single crochets. We can take out this stitch marker, and now from this point over to our next stitch marker, we're going to be going in with back loop half doubles. So prepare for a half double, insert into that next back loop with a half double. We're going to take our stitch marker and then insert it into that first half double and put back loop half doubles from here all the way over to the next stitch marker. So we're now finished with our back loop half doubles, and now we're just going to finish off this row with back loop doubles, and then we're going to leave that last loop so that we can go in with our increase of 2 back loop doubles together. So we're going to take out the stitch marker, prepare for a double, go into that next back loop with a double, and then insert a stitch marker into that first back loop double loop. And then work all the way down until we have just 1 loop left with back loop doubles. So we've just gone in with our back loop doubles going all the way down, and we have left our last loop. And into that last loop, we're going to be going in with an increase of 2 back loop doubles. We're going to prepare for a double, go into that last loop with 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochets. Once we have that, to close off this second row, we're going to slip stitch into that second available loop that we have into the base. So we're going to count up 1, count up 2, slip stitch into that second. And now this row is all closed up, and in order to work our way up to the next row, it's going to be the same way that we did the other one. So we're going to slip stitch up the next 2 available loops. We will be flipping our work, and then into the first and into the last stitches that we have into this row, we're going to be doing increases of 2 back loop double crochets. And we're going to maintain the double crochet to half double to single to half double to double crochet sequence going all the way around until our 2 ends that we have reach this middle point that we have within this leg hole. So I'll meet you guys back once we have all of these rows finished up. Alright, so we are back and we are nearly done with this little increase section that we have right here. I just wanted to mention something really quickly. I actually just have 1 more row left to go into until I'm finished up with my increase section. But if you guys just so happen to have an odd number of loops for each pant leg, your work will end up like mine. So in between my row that I just finished off, I have a total of 3 loops. And since I just have 3 loops left, my last row is going to have to share this middle stitch. But if you guys had an even number, then you guys are going to end at the 2 loops that's right next to each other. But either way, you guys go ahead and work up your row just the way that you guys need. Just make sure that there aren't any loops in between. So I'm going to go in with just 1 more row, and then we can go in with the rest of this right after that. So we are back and we have just finished up going in with our increase rows that went up at an angle just like this. And now we're going to have to do our very best to even this out, to curve this down at an angle so that it can eventually all become horizontal. So what I did into my last row was I did a chain up of 1 and cut, pulled that last loop nice and tight, and then I counted the amount of loops that I had from this first stitch that I had going all the way around to this last stitch that I had, and I have from there inserted a stitch marker into that middle loop that I have. And now this point is going to be where we're starting and ending the rest of the rows from here, which is going to be along the inside. So the first thing we're going to want to do is insert our hook in through this middle stitch, but we want to figure out what direction we were going in so that we can keep up with this ribbing that we were doing. So as you guys can see into the last row, each of the stitches that's on top kind of looks like a teardrop. So whichever direction the curved portion of our teardrop is facing, that's the direction that we were previously going. So from here, we're going to need to work down at this angle so that we can keep up with this ribbing. So since we're working in this direction, I will turn my work this way, and then I'm going to insert my hook into that middle stitch, but making sure that we're going in through that back loop to keep up with that ribbing. And now that we've inserted our hook into that middle stitch marker, making sure we're going in through that back loop, now we're going to work into the opposite direction that we just came in with. And for this first row, for this section, we're going to be maintaining these same stitches that we went in with. So since we're working here, we're going to do back loop single crochets to the first stitch marker, back loop half doubles to this one, and from here do back loop doubles going all the way up, but we are going to leave that last stitch that we have. We're not going to be doing an increase, we're actually going to be combining this last stitch with this first stitch along this side. So I'll meet you guys back when we have worked our way all the way up with the same stitches that we have, all the way up until we get to this second to last loop right here. So we have just made our way down with the stitches that we said we were going to do. So we went from single to half double to back loop double, and we have left our last loop that we have into this section, and we're going to be doing a decrease of 2 back loop double crochets, combining this end over with this end. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet, go into that last back loop into this row, yarn over, pull through, and then go into the first back loop over onto this section. So we're just going to skip this right here, insert our hook over here. We're going to yarn over, pull through. We should have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2. And then now this is nice and combined. So now we can go in with the rest of our row. So we're going to go in putting 1 back loop double crochet into every stitch. And then once we hit our stitch marker, we're going to go back to back loop half doubles, back loop singles, and then we're going to slip stitch into this chain up space that we first went into when we started off this row. All right, so we are back and we have just finished up going in with our first row of going into the rounds for our pant leg. And from here, we're going to need to do some major decreasing because we need this entire gap to taper in towards our thigh and then eventually our leg and so on and so forth going down our leg. So what we're going to do from here is maintain what we have been doing along this bottom half. We're still going to do our singles to half doubles because we also want this to be able to curve to go all the way to horizontal. But we're going to maintain our back loop singles to back loop half doubles. And then when it comes to doing our doubles, we are going to stop 5 loops away from where we did our decrease of 2 back loop doubles in the previous row. So into that loop that we did, I did insert a stitch marker into there. And then from there, I counted out 5 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then inserted my stitch marker. And we're going to be doing a decrease into that 5th and 4th, a double crochet into that 3rd, and then a decrease into that 2nd and 1st. And then we're going to separate it by 1 double crochet in the middle, which is right on top of this decrease of 2, and then do the same thing that we just did here on the other side of it. So I will meet you guys back once we get to our first stitch marker along this side. Just make sure when we start up this next row, we're doing a chain up of 1, and we are flipping our work because we need to maintain this ribbing. Then I'll meet you guys back once we're at that stitch marker. So we're back and we have just made our way over to our first stitch marker, and we're going to be doing this entire sequence with each other. So into this first stitch marker, we're first going to take this guy out and go in with a decrease of 2 back loop double crochets. So we're going to prepare for a double crochet, insert our hook into this next available loop, yarn over, pull through, next available back loop as well, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2. And then from here, we're going to divide our decreases with 1 back loop double crochet in between. So we're going to prepare, put 1 back loop double crochet into the loop right after that. And then we should have, at this point, 2 back loops right before we get to this middle stitch marker that we have, which is our decrease of 2 back loop double crochets in the previous row. So into these next 2, we're going to be going in with another decrease of 2 back loop doubles. So we're going to prepare, insert into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through, into the back loop after that, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2. And then from here, we're going to be putting 1 back loop double into this middle stitch marker, which is our decrease in the previous row. So we can take this one out for now. We will be inserting it back in. We're going to put 1 back loop double into there. And then I will be inserting my stitch marker back into that loop. Now we're going to do the same sequence that we just did here along the other side. So we're going to start off by doing a decrease of 2 back loop doubles into the next 2 back loops. So we're going to prepare for a double, insert into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through, also into the back loop after that, yarn over, pull through. We're going to yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we have 1 back loop double to do into this next loop, regular schmegular back loop double, and then just 1 more decrease of 2 back loop doubles. So we're going to prepare, insert into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through. We can take out this outside stitch marker now, into this next back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2. And now that we have all of these going on right here, now we're going to do the rest of this row the same way that we've been doing it. So back loop doubles going all the way down until we have our stitch marker, which is back loop half doubles, back loop singles to close off this row, and then slip stitch into that chain 1 space. Okay, so we're back and we now have row 2 of our pant leg of working into the rounds all finished up. And from here, we're actually going to maintain this pattern for just a little bit. So once when we're looking at it as if we were wearing it, we're actually going to keep doing this until this back half, which is right where our booty is, and we're going to keep going until this goes just a little past our booty, because we're going to have to meet each other back right after that, so we can do some decreases for our thigh portion to wrap around so it can also even out. So just as a reminder, once when we have finished off our rows, we are going to go back to this middle point, count out 5 loops, insert a stitch marker into both directions, and then we're going to be doing a decrease of 2 back loop double crochets, 1 back loop double, decrease of 2 back loop double crochets, 1 back loop double into this middle point that we have, and then along the other side, decrease of 2 back loop doubles, 1 back loop double, decrease of 2 back loop doubles, and then back loop doubles with the same stitches that we have been doing this entire time. So I will meet you guys back to let you guys know how many rows I end up having, and then to show you guys what we are going to do after that as well. Just remember to do a chain up of 1 and flip your work after every row. All right, so we are back, and this general shape is what we should have so far. We actually have some really cool looking shorts right now, so if you guys want to cut it and do the other side, y'all are more than welcome. But we are going to turn these into some pants. So what I will be doing into my next row is going to be a different decreasing pattern, but after that I'm just going to be going in the rounds without doing any increases or decreases until I hit right where my knee is so I can decrease some more. So we're just going to maintain doing our pattern going all the way down until we have just 2 loops right before we get to our middle stitch marker right here where our point is, so that we can maintain this point. And then from there we're going to finish off this row. So I will meet you guys back going all the way up until we have these 2 loops left. So we are back with our row. We have gone all the way around until we have just these 2 loops left right before this middle stitch marker is along our side arrow portion that we have right here. So we're just going to be going in with a decrease of 2 into those next 2 back loops. So insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Into where this middle stitch marker is, we're going to be going in with 1 back loop double crochet. And we're going to insert our stitch marker back into there. And then we're going to be doing 1 more decrease of 2 back loop double crochets into the next 2. So prepare, insert into that back loop, pull through, next back loop, pull through 3, pull through 2. Once we have that, we're going to maintain the rest of this pattern. So go around with back loop doubles, back loop halves, back loop singles, slip stitch into that chain 1 space, do a chain up of 1, flip our work, and then into this next row. And for the next few rows after, I'm actually not going to be doing any increases or decreases. I'm just going to keep going in the rounds with this same number count that I have, making sure that I'm doing a chain up of 1 and flipping after every row. But I'm going to keep doing this until I get just a little bit above my knee. But you guys can go ahead and decrease if you guys need to in any row. But other than that, I will meet you guys back once we have these next few rows done. Okay, so we are back and we have gotten just a little bit of work done since the last time I saw you guys. And this portion that I have right here is just a little bit above my knee, and it is nearly evened out. We're going to go in with rows of half doubles to doubles. We're not going to be doing our singles anymore so that it can even out, and then once when it's completely even, we're just going to be going in with doubles from there. But to let you guys know, we left you guys at our 22nd row. I don't know which one that is, so I'm just going to point right here. And then from there, going all the way down, I had 8 rows where we didn't do any decreases. We just did our rows as usual, did a chain up of 1, flipped our work, and then repeated, because that was the size that fit around my leg the best. But if y'all did your decreases, that's completely fine too. But I do have a total of 30 rows, and then measuring just from this inner thigh portion, this is a total of 6.5 inches or 17 centimeters. But once when we have this, we're just going to go in with a handful of rows with our half doubles to doubles. So that's going to be exactly the same. If you guys do need to decrease within these rows, then maintain your decreases into the stitch marker that we have out here, just like how we did in the previous clip. But I actually won't be doing it for this row that I will be showing you guys right now. So we're just going to be going in with our half double to double together. And then you guys do what you got to do from there. But all this is, it's basically going to be the same thing. We're going to insert our hook into where our working yarn is. And then once when we get here, we're going to be doing a chain up of 2, because that counts as a half double. And then we're going to flip our work, making sure that we're going in the direction that we just came in from. So from here, we can actually take out this single crochet stitch markers, because we're just going to go straight through until we hit this stitch marker, because this entire chunk is going to be our back loop half double crochets. So I'm just going to take this guy out, and I'm going to go in with my back loop half doubles until we hit this stitch marker over here. So we've just done our back loop half doubles until we hit our first stitch marker, or technically our second because we took out the first, but until we hit our stitch marker. And now we're going to go in with our back loop double crochets. And this part is going to be exactly the same as before. So from here, we're just going to go all the way around with our back loop double crochets until we hit this stitch marker over here. And then from here, just go all the way down with back loop half doubles. And since I'm not going to be doing any decreases, I will have the same amount of loops as the previous row. And I'm going to do this row just one more time, and then I'll meet you guys back. Okay, so we are back, and I have just gone in with 2 rows of our evening out rows that just went from back loop half doubles to back loop doubles. No single crochets, as you guys can see over here. And now this is actually very even for me, so I'm just going to stop doing the other stitches and just go straight in with back loop doubles for the remainder of my pant leg. But for this first row, I'm actually going to be doing a decrease, and I'm just going to decrease where our current stitch markers are. So I'm going to go in with back loop doubles until we hit our stitch marker right here, do a decrease of 2, back loop doubles, decrease of 2 into here, and then close off with more back loop doubles. And then after that, I will be going straight down with a few more rows of back loop double crochets until I decide to decrease again. So for this row, I'll just do the decreases with you guys, and then in the next clip, I'll let you guys know how many rows I have in between until I decide to do a decrease again. So just to get this first full back loop double crochet row started with each other, we're going to start off by doing a chain up of 3, because that counts as a double crochet. So here is 1, 2, and 3. And from here, we are going to flip our work, making sure that we are going into the direction that we just came in from. And then we're just going to go all the way down until we hit our first stitch marker right here. And the stitch marker, remember, was in the spot where we did our half doubles and then did our doubles in the previous row. So let's just go in with a bunch of back loop doubles. So we just finished up going in with our back loop double crochets. Our stitch marker was into this loop, and I have gone into there. And then into the next 2 loops, we're going to be going in with a decrease of 2 back loop doubles. So we're going to prepare for a double, go into that next loop, yarn over, pull through, loop after that, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2. And then that is our decrease of 2 back loop doubles. And then from there, we're going to go in with back loop doubles all the way around until we hit our next stitch marker, do a decrease of 2 back loop doubles into there, and then finish off with back loop doubles. Once we get to the end, we are going to slip stitch into that 3rd chain that we made for ourselves at the beginning of this row, do another chain up of 3, flip our work, and then work our way back with more back loop doubles. And if you guys want to continue to decrease within these next few rows, that is completely up to you guys. Go for it. I will not be, but I will let you guys know in the next clip how many rows I have in between my decrease rows. Alright, so we are back, and we have just finished up going in with just a couple more rows of our back loop double crochets where we didn't do any decreases, 2 to be exact. And from here, we're going to do just one more row where we do our decreases for just our back loop double crochet rows together. And then from there, I'll let you guys go in with your decrease / non-decrease back loop double crochet rows into whatever cadence you guys want. And then when I have this point going all the way down till I'm ready to do my cuff, I'll actually meet you guys back so that I can tell you guys just what rows I did my decreases in, but the decreases will be the same from here on out. So let's just do this next row together one more time, then I'll meet you guys back when the entire pant leg is pretty much done. So what we are going to do is do a chain up of 3. We already have a chain up of 1 here, so I'm going to do another 1, another 2, and we will be flipping our work to keep up with the ribbing. And then from here, we're just going to want to eyeball this. This does not have to be perfect. Just want to make sure that if you guys are doing a decrease into every single row, that you stagger out your decreases just a little bit. So I would suggest, if you guys are going into every row, doing one row where your decreases are within the front and the back. And then the next row would be your decreases along the outside. So here's one on the inside, one on the outside. And we're doing it that way so that we don't have any more of these pointed rows happening, which is super cool looking, but then it would look kind of weird if you had just 2 rows that are pointed and then a couple that aren't. So you just want to make sure that they're a little staggered for the rest of these pants. But I am going to be doing them in through the front and the back because the last time I did it in through the front and the back was a couple rows ago, so we are good to go from there. So I'm just going to be going in with a handful of back loop double crochets, and then I'll meet you guys back once we get around this middle point right here. Alright, so we are back and we have gone in with a decent amount of back loop double crochets. We are pretty much in the middle of this panel right here, and now we're just going to do in with a decrease of 2 back loop double crochets. So all that's going to be is the same one that we've been doing. We're going to prepare for a double crochet, go into that next back loop, yarn over, pull through, back loop after that, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is it. I'm now going to continue doing back loop double crochets all the way around till we get to somewhere in the middle along this side. Do a decrease of 2 back loop double crochets, back loop doubles all the way down, and then slip stitch into this chain up of 3 that we always slip stitch into. Do a chain up of another 3, flip our work, and then go in with whatever cadence you guys have. So I'm going to be going in with a couple rows of just back loop double crochets, and then I'm going to be doing another decrease. Like I said, I'll meet you guys back once I have the majority of my pant leg done, and from there I will tell you guys what actual rows I have done my decreases in, and then we can go in with whatever we have to go in with from there. So sit back, relax, grab a pen and paper, make sure you guys are keeping up with this because we're going to have to do the same thing that we did here on the other side. But other than that, hang out and I'll meet you guys back. Alright, so we are back and I now have the total length of my pant leg. And just to share with you guys, the inseam that I have is a total of 25 inches or 64 centimeters from the inside where our inner thigh is going to be. And I have a total of 61 rows. And I am going to let you guys know into which rows I have decreased into right after we left off. So I left you guys off right after my 36th row, or that is a little bit above my knee. So after that row, I actually went into every other row with a decrease until I hit my knee. So that came out to a total of 42 rows. And then from there, from 43 all the way down to 61, I just have one decrease row right in between, and that is right where my calf is. So right in the middle, and that was just into my 52nd row. Other than that, it was just worked in the rounds with back loop double crochets. And then once when I had the length that I wanted, I am now ready to meet up with you guys so that we can go in with our bottom cuff. But your decreases can obviously vary between how many rows you guys have or how many decreases you guys have. All depends on the fit that you guys want. But once when we have made our way all the way down, now we can get started on the cuff. And the cuff is actually going to be very similar to the waistband that we did. So I did do a chain up of 1 and cut, but that isn't necessary. Once when we get here, we're just going to be doing a chain out of how long we want the cuff to be. So I'm going to make a chain of 12, or that comes out to 2.5 inches or 8 centimeters. Now that we have our chain length, we are now going to go in with a bunch of slip stitches. So we're going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1, and then we're going to slip stitch into that chain that we blocked off, or the second one from our hook, with just 1 slip stitch. And from here, just go all the way down, putting 1 slip stitch into every chain that we have, going back down our work. Now that we've done our slip stitches going all the way back down our work, what we're going to do from here is slip stitch into that next available loop. So we're going to insert, yarn over, pull through to close off this first row. And to work our way up to the next row, we're going to slip stitch up just the next available loop into the base. We will be flipping our work. And from here, we're going to be working with back loop slip stitches. So into this first back loop, we're going to insert, yarn over, pull through everything. And we're going to keep doing this all the way down our work. Once we make our way down to the end, we're going to do a chain up of 1 and flip, and then do back loop slip stitches coming all the way back down. And then once we get down to the base, we're going to slip stitch into the next available loop into the base to close off that row. And then in order to work our way up to the next row, we're going to slip stitch up the next available base, flip our work, and then do more back loop slip stitches. And we're going to keep going back and forth like that until we don't have any more loops left into the base, and then we'll meet each other back so that we can seam it all up together. So we are back and we have just made it all the way around with our cuff of back loop slip stitches. And now what we're going to do is just seam it all up together. And the seam is going to be the same way that we did our waistband. The first thing we're going to want to do is just make sure that the seam is going to be on the inside. And the way we do that is taking a look at the waistband and just making sure that this seam is along the inside just like this. And then once when we have that, this does need to be on the opposite side right here. So all we're going to do is just pinch these two corners together, but making sure that the outside portions are touching each other. So we're just going to pinch them in like this, and then we're going to pull this inner corner out through the leg hole. And then once we have that, we can hold it the way that we will have to once when we go in with our single crochet. And now we're ready to go in with our seam. And now that we have that, we're going to want to insert our hook into the corner loop that we have into the front panel, and then also into the corner loop that we have into the back panel. That just so happens to be where my working yarn is. So we're going to pull through. And once we have that, we're going to go across with single crochets, making sure we're going in through the front and the back panel at the same time. So what we're going to do is pull this working yarn through this front panel corner, do a chain up of 1 to secure. And once we have this, we're just going to do the first one together since we've already seamed up the waistband together. So what we're going to do is insert our hook into the first available loop into the front panel, into the first available loop into the back panel. From here, we're going to single crochet. So yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're just going to keep doing that, going all the way down until we don't have any more loops left to go into. Alright, so we have just finished up seaming up our bottom cuff, and we're actually going to do everything that we just did one more time. So I'm just going to start off this next row with you guys just to show you guys where to insert your hook, but everything else is going to be exactly the same. So let's get this next pant leg started. What we're going to do from here is make sure that our waistband is laying the same way that it was laying when we first started. So basically, if we take a look at the back side, our seam should be underneath, but this seam should be faced up towards us, kind of like as if we were wearing it, making sure it's along the inside. And then now we're going to be working in through the right, obviously. So what we're going to do is go into the front panel that we have right here, and then we're going to insert our hook into the second available loop that we have that's right next to this original dividing chain that we made for ourselves. And then from there, we're just going to go in with the same pattern that we did before. So we're going to start off by putting an increase of 2 double crochets into that first loop, and then we're going to go in with doubles to back loop, half doubles to singles going underneath, and then half doubles back to doubles, remembering to do an increase into that last loop that we have that's right next to the base. And we're going to keep going back and forth like that until we hit this side stitch marker. Once when we have that, then we're going to be going in with these rows where we did our decreases along the sides, and then just keep going from there. So I will meet you guys back once when we are all done with our second pant leg, including the cuff and seaming everything up. Alrighty, so we are all back and we have just finished going in with our second pant leg. Once we have that, the next thing we're going to have to do is make a chain that is long enough to be able to weave in and out of our waistband. So I went ahead and made a chain of 165, and that came out to 50 chains or 121 centimeters. And then from there, I just wove it into the same loop going all the way across the waistband, all the way around, and I tied it up, called it a day. And once we have that all finished up, we are actually all done. So go ahead and just weave in all of your ends. Our ends are woven in, and these are our new favorite sweatpants, all done. This was a really fun project to do. There's a lot of trial and error, but learned a lot along the way and can't wait to incorporate these new techniques into new projects. There is a pattern written down below for you guys. Use offer code TCDDIY for a discount. Enter this week's pattern giveaway by telling us what you love the most about yourself. Good luck to everyone who enters. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, because believe it or not, it actually helps. And be sure to share us on Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook. Links down below. Link to our Etsy page is down there too if you want to buy this piece or any other piece on the channel. Be sure to favorite this shop so you don't miss out on new patterns and new exclusive deals. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video, guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one.